Hey Tim, how are you? I was a couple minutes late, so I'm trying to get the link so that I can put it over on Facebook so people know. And then I need to start the TikTok stream too. So give me a couple seconds. Because apparently I'm not good at multitasking. Oh, I know. You should. Was it raining as bad where you are up in Modesto? Like, what was it? Tuesday? Tuesday was really bad. Like we had like a monsoon down here. Like it was. I did not want to go out. All I wanted to do was lay on the couch and just pretend that, you know, I wasn't here. It was bad. It was really bad. Okay, I found the link. So posting that. Yeah, it stopped up here by Wednesday too. So it was it was weird because Monday they were saying on the news that we were probably going to get rain on Tuesday, and I've been doing a lot more baking for like the local community, and I had a gal, one of my customers, who she fell at Disneyland and broke her hip. So she had asked me if I could bring over. I had made her like a dozen or a couple dozen cookies, and she'd asked if I could bring it over. And she's like literally around the corner from me, and I was like, yeah, sure, that's no problem. And she goes, well, you can either come today, which was Monday. She's like, or you could come tomorrow. And I said, let me come today after work because I was like, I hear it's supposed to rain tomorrow. And boy, am I glad I did because it started, I think, raining here around 4 a.m. or so, maybe earlier than that. I just remember hearing when I was in bed, hearing it. And the cats were freaking out, like they were like, "What is going on? It's the apocalypse!" And it was pouring. I mean, it outside my glass slider door. It looked like a waterfall, like all day long. And it finally stopped Tuesday night. And I think like Wednesday it's been dry and today's the sun's actually out. Even though I'm sitting in the corner of the living room. So you're seeing all the blue light on my face. I'm not sitting on the bed over where we would normally do the lives. So I look I can't decide if I look like dead or undead or like I'm wearing white face like Johnny Depp does in all of the Tim Burton movies. But you're seeing the reflection from the screen. That's why. Okay, so I posted on Facebook. Now let me start. Let me start the TikTok feed, and then you'll have my full attention. What do you want? There's so many settings. Why is there going to be so many settings? Okay. But then I got to figure out where on here I can prop this. Hold on. How do I get it to flip? Hold on. Let me try this again. Oh, you got to do it before you start. That's why. Okay. See, this is what happens when you haven't done a live in a while. Nope, that's not going to work. Let me do it this way. Okay, now we're good, kind of. I have it propped up against my monitor, so that's just the best it's going to be for right now. So, I think, yeah, there we go. Okay. So is it sunny up there where you are now, Tim? It's cold down here. Is it cold over there? Sorry for all the delay, guys. I was not ready. I was ready, but then, of course, like, right before I went to go live, like, everybody started to reach out to me for different stuff. I got a couple of texts and I got a couple of emails, and I was like, oh, well, I had deliberately scheduled the live for like 4:15 California time to give me like a 15-minute buffer to get ready. And then it was like all of a sudden nobody needed me, and then everybody needed me all at once. So it became an avalanche. So I was late. I wasn't prepared, and I didn't have my text sorted, which is sad and embarrassing for me considering the fact of what I do with the radio show and things like that. So yeah, Tim, it's just you and me here for right now. There was somebody else that was on earlier, but they didn't come into chat. I realized the other day because I had popped into, and then there's our people over on TikTok too. So hi everybody on TikTok. We're streaming in two places. So we're on YouTube Live as well as over on TikTok. But I realized the other day, like maybe a week or so ago, that on YouTube Live, that it depends on what device you're on as far as whether you can go into the chat or not. Because I had logged on to YouTube because I was posting a video, I was doing something, and I had seen that Doug and Emmy Joe from the New Zoo Review were doing a live. So I was like, oh, I'll pop in and say hi and watch their live and everything. And on my browser, I couldn't get into the chat. I had to open up the YouTube app on my phone. And then on the YouTube app on my phone, I could get into the chat. TikTok seems to be much more streamlined with being able to get everybody. Hi, Tim. Oh, you're in both places. Look at you. Seems to be much more streamlined with being able to make the tech work faster, as long as you know how to use it, which I clearly didn't because I've only been live on TikTok like, what, 3 times? Something like that. But the account, this account over here on TikTok is like doing really well. Like I'm finding that there's a lot of people that are interested in retro pop culture over on TikTok. So Um, Tim, I think that the video feed over at TikTok is more like actual true color, because on YouTube I'm bluish, and it's because of the blue light from the computer monitor. And I think that TikTok fixes that. I guess the camera on my phone is better at eliminating blue light. I don't know. So, oh, and there's cats in the background. They may end up fighting. So I'm just warning everybody. So who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, TikTok is much better at being able to kind of streamline the whole going live process. It's much easier. I think it's just more self-contained. With YouTube, there's a little bit of a breakdown in between doing it on a browser versus doing it on the app or a tablet or something like that. So anybody who's watching on TikTok, if you guys want to help give me tips on TikTok Live, I would greatly appreciate that, because like I said, I've only been on TikTok Live like 3 times, and it's totally different than YouTube Live. Like, I'm very well accustomed to YouTube Live and how that works, and the super chats and all of that kind of stuff. But TikTok has a whole other setup. There's like roses, and I have no idea what any of that stuff is. And I keep getting like messages, notifications from TikTok, because the account is doing so well, like telling me how to share and telling me how to like boost the audience and to get roses and all this kind of stuff. But I have no idea what any of it means. So if anybody wants to help me learn about TikTok Live, that would be helpful. That would be great. I would appreciate that. So, oh, and thank you for sharing the live, Tim. Anybody who's watching on either YouTube or TikTok, if you can share the live, that would be great. That would help. And anybody who pops in who's not following us on TikTok or YouTube, either one, please hit the follow button. Please, please, please. We are almost at 5,000 followers on TikTok. And obviously everybody's goal is to get to 10,000 on TikTok. So if you give me a follow during this TikTok live, I'll follow you back. I'll go back and I'll trace back and follow anybody who followed me during this. Because that's a big thing on TikTok as I'm learning about it, right? I've been on it for like 6 months or something like that. A big thing on TikTok is engagement and like helping each other out and all that kind of stuff. So please, follows would be great. So there was a couple of things I wrote down that we can talk about. There's some stuff going on in pop culture. I think a big one, and let me actually see, I'm going to see if I can find an article about this. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but did you guys hear that they're tearing down the Monroeville Mall? So this actually, one of my TikTok friends notified me of this. I wasn't aware of it. But they are, actually it's Walmart. It's Walmart that's doing it. So for those of you that don't know, let me actually see if I can pull up an article really quick. The Monroe, for those of you that are horror movie fans, if you're a fan of classic horror movies, or retro. I don't really call them classic, because classic to me is like 60s and before. To me, like anything like 70s and 80s is definitely older, but I consider it retro. I don't consider it classic. Classic to me is like black and white classic. But when you're talking about retro horror films and you're talking about one of the godfathers of retro horror cinema, of course, the name George A. Romero comes to mind. And George Romero, who was known for Night of the Living Dead and then Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. Well, the Dawn of the Dead film, the original Dawn of the Dead, took place they filmed at the Monroeville Mall. So there are plans. That mall has been there forever, and now they're announcing that there's plans for it to be demolished, which is kind of sad all around. So Walmart has applied for a grant and application to be able to demolish it. And their plan is to put, I think, a Sam's Club there, which is, I mean, awful. Yeah, Tim. Oh, did he? I didn't hear that. I'll look that up in a second. I didn't know that. So it's this article says that Walmart and Cypress Equities, they have to meet local and state criteria, and then if they do, they're applying for a grant for $7.5 million from the Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program to put towards the proposed demolition of the Monroeville Mall, with the plans of putting a Sam's Club there in its place. And I'm pretty sure, this is kind of an old article that I'm scanning right now, but I'm pretty sure that they've received approval to do it, that they met the qualifications. And this is not the first time that the Monroeville Mall was in jeopardy, but I guess they managed to be able to save it before. And it's looking like this time it's going to happen. So, let's see. Yeah. Let me look up what Tim had said. I hadn't heard that. Did you guys hear? Hi, Strange Dog Comic Wrestling. How you doing? Guys, again, for anybody tuning in, we're on YouTube as well as TikTok Live both. So thanks for joining. Probably only going to be on for like maybe an hour-ish tonight. Yeah, the Dawn of the Dead Mall, Tim, the Monroeville Mall. Yeah, they're planning on leveling it. For all things for a Sam's Club. Like, we need another big box store, right? Let's see. This one was posted 5 days ago. Nope, that's a bad link. No. Yeah, information on it is pretty sketchy, but supposedly it's going to happen, and the plan is it'll still be there for like the next year or two. The plan is for it to actually be leveled in 2027. So unless that changes or unless they move the date up, we'll have the Monroeville Mall for like another 2 years. But I believe that Walmart / Sam's Club met all the requirements. So they're going to be able to move forward with it. And I don't know why a place like that couldn't be considered like some kind of a like historic landmark. I mean, I get that. I know that it's not from like the 1920s or something like that, but it's still a part of movie history, if you ask me. Yeah. Oh, hi, Rod. I didn't know you. See, I wished I had been to the Monroeville Mall. I haven't been. I know people that have gone because they were George Romero fans and they wanted to see it, but I haven't. I've never been. In Dawn of the Dead on VHS. There's something still fun. I still enjoy watching old movies like on VHS. Is that weird? I don't know. There's something nostalgic. It's kind of like how I like listening to a lot of music on vinyl. And I know that like, oh, well, we have digital and we have, CDs now, and there's really no need to do that. And the high fidelity quality and blah, 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 blah. But there's something warm about vinyl. There's something nice about that tangible, getting to hold it in your hand. And in my opinion, vinyl actually sounds better than digital. I think it has a fuller sound. So let me ask you guys, did anybody hear about what Tim said about Ace Frehley? Let me look it up. Did Ace Frehley pass away? Hold on. He did. Wow, I didn't know that. Oh, that's sad. Paul Daniel, Ace Frehley, co-founder, lead guitarist of the legendary rock band Kiss, and a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, has died following injuries suffered during a fall last month. According to a statement from his family, he was 74. Frehley's family wrote in the statement, "We are completely devastated and heartbroken. In his last moments, we were fortunate enough to have been able to surround him with loving, caring, peaceful words, thoughts, prayers, and intentions as he left this earth. We cherish all of his finest memories, his laughter, and celebrate his strengths and kindness that he bestowed upon others. The magnitude of his passing is of epic proportions and beyond comprehension. Reflecting on all of his incredible life achievements, Ace's memory will continue to live on forever." Wow. Those are like some of those guys that you don't think of. You don't think of them as being older. Like, I know he was 74, but he's like Alice Cooper and like all of those other ones. You don't really think of them aging. Maybe that's just me, but I definitely don't think of it. Yeah, I had seen something, Tim, that was posted by Ghosty, but it was kind of like in passing because I was late for the live stream that I had scheduled like 2 hours ago. So I just was like, oh, I'll go back and read this later. It didn't even dawn on me, kind of going back to what I said about how I don't think about these guys, like these legends of rock, getting older. And so it didn't even dawn on me that he might have passed away. That's awful. Yeah. That's sad. He had blood. Oh, from the blood in his brain from the fall. Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, like this whole physicality body thing, like the design could have been a little bit better. I just found out actually that two people that I know in real life, two people that I know have been diagnosed with and are fighting cancer now. So I'm just like I said, like you never really know. You never really know how long you have and what's going to happen today, tomorrow, or the next day. So always tell the people that you love them because, you know, tomorrow could be too late. You never really know. Sad. And in the blink of an eye, everybody's so worried about rushing around and, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to run here and I got to run there. You never realize how quick it can all just be gone. And then, you know, it's us sad saps that are left here on Earth that are still having to suffer through it. Yes, it's my Halloween Tumblr. Because it is October. So, I'm not going to talk about any of the stuff that I plan on talking about during the show. But just to let you guys know, for those of you that are watching either on YouTube or TikTok that are Cult Radio listeners, there is going to be a new Crag Live this Saturday. It'll just be me. But I'm going to be doing a profile on Vic Mizzy. So if you do know who Vic Mizzy is, then you'll enjoy the show. If you don't know who Vic Mizzy is, then I suggest you tune in to find out who Vic Mizzy is and enjoy the show, because I guarantee you know at least one or two of Vic Mizzy's songs. So the profile, the live radio show that's a profile on Vic Mizzy will be this coming Saturday, October 18th. And the show starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Not sure how long it'll go. I have a playlist of stuff that I want to play during the show. So I guess it'll go however long it takes to get through all of that and talk about his life. So probably 2 or 3 hours. But yeah, actually tomorrow, tomorrow the 17th is the anniversary of his passing. So that was kind of that combined with the fact that it's, we're halfway through October, almost to Halloween. Um, that kind of inspired me to want to do a profile show on Vic Mizzy. Plus, I think the composers are largely forgotten about. Like, they're not thought about. I think it's sad. Like, people don't realize when you're sitting down and watching a movie or something like that. I mean, everybody focuses on the actors, the storyline, even sometimes the directors, but nobody focuses on the composers. Like, you don't think about it. And I guarantee you, the music, the score to films makes such a huge impact on the experience you have when you watch the TV show or the film. You don't even know. Like, if you had the ability to turn off the soundtrack track, the score track, and just watch it, you would be experiencing a completely different movie than the emotions that you feel that is emanating because of the music that you're hearing. So I think that they're kind of like the unsung heroes of movies and television. So I thought for my first show back, that would be a nice thing to do. And then I have to figure out what the schedule is for the rest of the month. So let me ask you guys, anybody who's on TikTok or YouTube that's watching, like, when are you guys celebrating Halloween? Are you guys going out? Because Halloween falls on a Friday this year. And, like, how long do you usually stay in the Halloween spirit? The reason I'm asking is because the radio show is usually on Saturday night. And Halloween falls on a Friday this year. So I was thinking, okay, well, if I'm going to do the Saturday closest to Halloween, then our Halloween show would be next Saturday, which would be Saturday the 25th. But that is 6 days before actual Halloween. Actual Halloween is on Friday the 31st. So the closest Saturday to that would be November 1st. But then also I've found out that a lot of times with holidays, especially, again, because our society is so rushed and, oh my God, we got to rush here and rush there and everything's on demand, that what's been happening over the last couple of years is that after you get right past the holiday, it's like a switch flipped and everybody's already moved on to the next holiday. So it used to be that, like, people would celebrate Halloween basically all the way up through the weekend after Halloween. But now it's like as soon as Halloween happens, like by like midnight at the latest, like people are already starting to focus on Thanksgiving and already starting to focus on Christmas. And I've already been seeing all the Christmas stuff in the stores. And I've already been hearing all of the people talking about the plans for the holidays and what they're going to do for Thanksgiving and what they're going to do for Christmas. So I was thinking, I mean, ideally, I would do our Halloween show on November 1st because that's closest to Halloween. But I think maybe by November 1st, people might be over it. I don't know. How long do you guys normally celebrate Halloween? Yeah. What are you going to do to celebrate, Tim, on Friday, on Halloween? See, I'm trying to decide because, like, I really love getting trick-or-treaters, but where I live, like, we don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters. I think the last couple of years we got maybe like 7 to 10 total, and that was over the course of like 4 or 5 hours. I mean, I literally go on our local forum up here and like post my address and like advertise that I'm giving out candy because I want so bad to have trick-or-treaters and to be able to participate in like the festivities, but just we're so spread out and so rural up here that like there's no trick-or-treaters or very few. Psychomania. That's a good tradition, Rod. For a while, we stopped doing it, but for a while we would watch The Legend of Hell House every Halloween with Roddy McDowell, which is a great film. And Roddy's brilliant in like anything he does. Yeah, I would, like I said, I would prefer to extend it past Halloween too, Tim, but it's a matter of if anybody will come with me. Because what I was thinking is if I do a new live radio show this Saturday, which is the tribute to Vic Mizzy, then I was thinking like next Saturday, maybe I'll do a classic Craig. And then the Saturday after, which would be November 1st, I could try to put together something for Halloween. I don't know what it's going to be. Um, but it's a matter of if people are still going to be interested. I don't know. I mean, personally, I start celebrating Halloween as of October 1st, and you're not going to get me to stop until we're pretty much like very solidly into November. So yeah, I think I'll stay home and hope that there's going to be some trick or treaters. I'm definitely not going down to LA on Halloween night. Halloween night and New Year's Eve, I will not go down to LA. I have too much of a small town mentality now. It's been kind of bred into me. So, watching old horror movies, Tim, that's a good idea. I actually need to see the new Nosferatu. Yeah, Rod, they do trunk or treats up here too. But see, even those up here, um, they're not doing them on Halloween. They're doing them like the 24th, like the Saturday before. Yeah, I did hear about Moody Blues bassist singer John Lodge. That thing about Ace Frehley though, that's very surprising. I didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, maybe it was just announced, but it surely wasn't announced earlier today. That's sad. He's the first one, right? He's the first one from Kiss to go. And it's also hard nowadays because there's so much false news that gets posted. Like I've seen a lot of articles that have said like 2 or 3 times that like a certain celebrity's passed, and that's just not true. So now I think we all have to be cautious to the point to where there's a certain level of cynicism whenever we see an announcement like that. We have to like check and verify because you never know if it's true. There's two things that happens. People post stuff that's not true. And then the other thing that'll happen is that people will post stories from like 5 years ago and come off like it's brand new and it just happened, even though it's like 5-year-old news. I guess it's all because of clickbait. Everybody's trying to get clicks and likes and follows. I don't know. New York, I would think would be crazy on Halloween, Rod. I would like to experience New York for sure, but maybe my first time not on like Halloween or New Year's Eve. But someday, I don't think I would ever do New York for New Year's Eve. Like I've seen it on TV and not only does it seem like crazy, but just the fact that like you're standing in Times Square for like 12 hours and you can't use the restroom or you lose your spot, there is no way. Nope. Because if it gets to the point to where it is interrupting my personal comfort, it is not worth it to me. And I'm not a wuss. I'm not saying like, oh, I can't be cold or no, that's fine. Like I can be cold. I can put on an extra jacket or an extra sweatshirt or whatever, like bundle up. But if it gets to the point to where like I can't use the restroom or I'm going like 46 hours without being able to eat or sleep, then yeah, that's not worth it to me. It's not worth. There's plenty of other things you could do where you're not like having to feel like you're going out on some kind of, nature excursion where you don't have the basic things that you need to be able to survive. We have one of those too, Rob. Rod said he has a life-size stand-up of Elvira. For a while, Terry was collecting those. So we call them flats. We have a whole box of flats in our garage. And we have like Texas Chainsaw. We have Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We have Elvira. We have a life-size stand-up of Clark Gable. There's a couple others too, but I don't remember what they are. The Elvira one we got because she used to be the spokeswoman for Coors, and they had them. Yep, they had them in the stores, and so Terry would just go and talk to the manager of the store and say, "Be like, hey, when you're done with this, like, can I take it off your hands?" And usually they were like, "Yes," because they didn't want to deal with having to put it up or throw it out or deal with it. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff like that because they were like store advertising promos that the store just didn't want to deal with. So we were talking about where I had kind of mentioned like the Halloween, but we had kind of talked about like how news will come out and you don't know if it's true or not. So I saw a commentary earlier today on the KTLA News, and they were talking about AI. So I think you guys have probably heard about, they have this new actress, and I say that in quotes, this new actress who has been created and to star in like, commercials and TV and movies and things like that. And she's completely AI, but it's frightening because she actually looks like a living, breathing, physical, like you cannot tell it's AI. And there's been a lot of actors and a lot of people in the industry who are, including Screen Actors Guild, SAG, who are speaking out against this and saying, this is ridiculous. Like it's an insult to people that are in the industry, and it's already hard enough to break into the industry and get roles, and now we're having to deal with the fact that they're competing with AI generated actors and actresses. And so like the story that I had heard on the news earlier today was talking about how it's kind of, the AI thing is kind of infiltrating like all realms of media. And I guess there's a lot of, artificial intelligence. I guess there's a lot of podcasts now that are coming out. And this kind of made me like sit up and listen, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be replaced with AI. So there's a lot of podcasts that are coming out now where the hosts of the radio shows, the hosts of the podcasts are completely AI generated. And it doesn't sound, you wouldn't even be able to know if they didn't put a disclaimer before the podcast saying, this is, AI generated or whatever, of which people are supposed to. Like, even when you post videos on YouTube, you're supposed to check the box that says, like, yes, this contains AI. But there's no checks and balances there. Like, it could totally be AI, and you could not check anything and not tell anybody, and nobody's going to know the difference, and nobody's going to call you on it. So I guess there's been a bunch of people that have, a bunch of podcasts rather, that have been created and generated completely hosted by AI. And what's frightening, I don't want to say frightening, I always kind of laugh at all the people that say, oh, they're scared of AI, because I don't think it's going to be like Westworld, at least not in our lifetimes. It might get there someday, but I don't think it's going to be in our lifetimes. But I don't think it's going to be like, 2001: A Space Odyssey or Westworld, where it like takes over and obliterates the human race and like takes us as its slave and or kills us or whatever. So I'm not really afraid of AI, but it's just a matter of impeding on jobs that people are already struggling to get. And so I guess there's a lot of podcasts out there now to where they are completely hosted by AI generated hosts. And it's crazy because you would not be able to tell if they didn't check that box or give you some kind of a warning that it was AI. And it's not even like they have to pre-type out a script. Like they create and program AI bots. And these bots have a voice, they have a personality. They're able to process and think and come up with conversations that make sense with each other on their own without the programmer having to go in and say, like, say this, blah, 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 blah. Like, it just does it. And they're able to have fluid, human-like, like remarkably human-like interactions with each other and have thought processes and say, oh, well, this is what I think about this, and give like a unique, feedback of whatever it is that they're talking about. And the concerning part, well, there's two things that are concerning about this. Not only one, that when you're listening to a podcast or a radio show or a talk show, commentary of any kind, you're usually listening to get the host's opinion, right? Like their feedback. Doesn't mean you're going to follow it, but you're wanting to hear human logic and human interaction so that you can then formulate your own opinions based on what these people said. So now we're going to be doing that based on what AI bots say, especially if you don't know that it's hosted by AI. And then the other thing that's concerning is that the report I saw this morning said that these AI podcasts can be created for literally like the cost of like $1, right? So their production costs are way under what humans could achieve for producing a podcast, which is way more than $1. So the industry is going to be, big businesses are going to be leaning towards these AI productions because they're so much cheaper. And while you may not think that matters, if an AI production is cheaper or any production is cheaper, that's going to mean that they can start making a profit on it all that much quicker. So if you're dealing with like a real flesh and bone producer that produces a podcast, and let's say, I'll make it up, it takes them, $500 to produce a podcast, then if that company had to pay for that, they're going to have to make $500 in ad revenue before they even break even, before they can even start turning a profit on the ad revenue that they're getting from the podcast. But with podcasts that cost $1, like they only have to get a handful of ad clicks before they've recouped that, and then everything after that is profit. And unfortunately, the moral compass of whether we should do this or not is going to be completely forgotten about by these companies that are wanting to make money, because they're going to say, well, hey, we can get similar content. Nobody's going to know. It's going to be way cheaper, and we're going to be able to start making our money back that much quicker. And they're going to start phasing out like real people. I just hope if they're going to do like AI generated, like, can we at least make it to where we know that they're not the real people? Like, can we make it after like legitimate classic radio hosts that we all know and love and miss? I mean, that way we would know it's not real. We would know it's AI. And then we would also have that nostalgic feeling of getting to hear Wolfman Jack, or getting to hear Dick Clark, or getting to hear Casey Kasem again. I don't know. I know everybody's kind of really torn on this AI thing. Anybody wants to share with me what their thoughts are or feelings about it, I would love to hear it. I know there's been a lot of like AI hate, like a lot. Like people are really lashing back at it. Like they're not a fan. And I think that fear is a big part of it. Like I said, I don't think we have to worry about this becoming Westworld. I don't think we have to worry about it becoming Space 2001 with HAL 9000, at least not yet. But it is kind of sad because it's taking away not only jobs, but it's taking away the fun of creativity and the enjoyment of being able to create art and create something like that. Yeah, I get it. A robot can do it for like pennies on the dollar and quicker and faster, and in some cases probably better. But is it the same thing? Like, does it have the same feeling? Does it have the same energy that was put into it? I don't think so. Yeah, Rod, well, do you know what that show is called? Rod said that there was a TV show around 45 years ago about AI recreating a news anchor and then killing off the real guy so that he would never get older. I wouldn't put it past society nowadays. That's for sure. You guys hear how my voice is going? This is like my new normal because I'm talking so much more now with people on the phone for my job and all that kind of stuff. So I'm starting to just sound like Kim Carnes all the time. So it's not bad company to have. I don't mind. It's fine. We'd have to look it up, Rod. And by the way, I'm rereading any comments that come in on either platform because I'm on 2 platforms right now. And if I don't read them, then the people that are in the other platform may not see it or know what I'm talking about. So that's why. Okay, so I wanted to take a moment to go on a rant for a second. And actually, there's a new friend that I made on TikTok who, if she's seeing this, she will actually start laughing her butt off when she hears me going off about this because I was talking to her about it in DM. So, and I know that this is something that I know he's not here right now, but I know that this is something that annoys Ghosty on the other side too. And that is this undying desire for people on the internet to somehow feel like they are smarter than you or more superior than you, or somehow feel like it gets them a badge of honor if they can somehow one up you by correcting you. Oh, you got that information wrong. Oh, that data's wrong. Oh, this didn't happen then, this happened here, and blah, 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 blah. And somehow it makes them feel superior or like they've won some fucking award if they can correct somebody else, which is idiotic anyway, because let's all be honest, in this day and age, like everybody lives behind their screens, right? Like you live behind your phone, you live behind your desktop computer, you live behind your laptop, you live behind your tablet. And unless you're somebody who has deliberately made themselves be a public figure on the internet, there's complete anonymity. Like, people know who I am. I'm very, very easy to find online because of the work with the radio station and because of doing the internet radio stuff for 23 years. In fact, I actually laugh when people say, well, I tried to find you forever. I'm like, dude, it is not hard to find me. Like, you simply put my name into Google and like the first like 3 pages are stuff about our website and the radio show, Cult Radio and all this. I was like, I am so easy to find. But most people are not like that. So most people on the internet live behind a screen name. A lot of times they don't even post pictures of themselves or whatever. So there is a level of anonymity, but somehow, for some reason, it still makes people feel superior if they're able to have that, what Ghosty calls that gotcha moment. Like, oh, you were wrong and this is why. So I had occasionally had this experience with like stuff with the radio show, but not that much because the radio show was live, and usually when we were doing something or interviewing a celebrity, we were focused on the conversation that we were having with the celebrity. We were not, paying attention to comments and dribble from the internet. But this has really become prevalent and brought to my attention with my involvement on TikTok. And for all of those of you that are watching on TikTok, I'm not trying to say anything about you personally. I promise I don't have any particular certain person that I'm targeting with this. It's just something that I've noticed a lot more since I've been posting on TikTok. So what I do on TikTok is the account is all about retro pop culture, right? So I do trivia, daily trivia, basically talking about things that happened on whatever day we're on in history. So like, for example, today is October 16th. I'm going to be posting some videos after this live that's like celebrating different things or commemorating different things that happened on October 16th in past years. Now, when I'm researching and looking for stuff to post, it could be anything from on this day in pop culture history, this movie opened, to on this day in pop culture history, this celebrity was born, or on this day in pop culture history, this celebrity passed away. So when you're doing events and like things like TV show premieres or movie premieres or things like that, like it's very easy to find, video clips that signify that exact event. However, when you're talking about, remembering the day that a certain actor, actress, musician was born, or talk about remembering the certain day that a celebrity died, clearly I'm not going to have video of them being born or of them dying. So what I try to do is find a video that is something that they are remembered for, or something funny, or something heartwarming, but it's not obviously of their birth or their death. So like, perfect example, I think it was yesterday, was Penny Marshall's birthday. Penny Marshall, who played Laverne on Laverne and Shirley. And so clearly I don't have video of the day that Penny Marshall was born as a newborn. So I just was trying to find some kind of fun little video to put with it, to put in text on the screen on TikTok on this day in, 1937 or whatever year it was, Penny Marshall was born. And so I ended up finding a retro commercial that Penny Marshall did with Farrah Fawcett for like a shampoo. And I posted it, and I'm always very careful to be very, very clear. And I put text on the video that shows up on TikTok that says, on this day, or born on this day. And I put born all in caps. I born all in caps on this day, October 16th, 1937, or whatever the year was, Penny Marshall. And then in the description / caption of the video, I put like a whole spiel about born on this day, Penny Marshall, what she's known for, blah, 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 blah. For some reason, people, and this has happened so much over the last couple of months, like I literally feel like slamming my head into the wall every time I get one of these commercials or one of these comments. For some reason, people have the ability to read enough of the text on the screen during the TikTok video to see that the year I mentioned was 1937 or whatever year it was. But they don't have enough fortitude to read the entire 1 or 2 or 3 lines of text. So they're seeing the words that are on the TikTok video, but they're only seeing part of it, or they're not fully reading it, or maybe they're not comprehending it or whatever. And inevitably, I always get the comments that say, this wasn't 1937. They didn't have cameras in 1937. This was like maybe 1973, but this was not 1937. And it's all for that purpose of people wanting to feel like they're superior and feel like, oh, I caught you being wrong and misquoting something and giving wrong information. And they want to feel like they one-upped me. It's that gotcha moment, you know? But they don't read. People read. Clearly, I don't have a video of the day that somebody was born or the day that somebody died. So I'm just putting up a video of something from their career that will make everybody smile when they see it so that they can enjoy remembering the person. If you're going to take the time to notice the year that is listed, and you're going to take the time even more so to comment and correct me on incorrect information, for the love of God, please take the time to read the entire title on the video or read the description of the video in the comments so that you can see that I'm not trying to say that a commercial clearly from the 1970s was from 1937. I was trying to say that the actress in the commercial was born on this day in 1937. I don't understand. I don't know if it's because people don't read, but they're clearly reading some of it. Or I have to believe that it's just that desire to feel superior and to feel like, oh, I'm right and you're wrong. Now, there has been one or two times where my information that I researched was incorrect. And somebody, I think, corrected me. I think there was one time I remember that somebody corrected me on the date of something. And they were right. And I absolutely admitted, oh my gosh, you were right. My research is wrong. You know, kudos to you. But if you're going to correct somebody, make sure that you actually know what you're talking about. Because then you just look like, I'm sorry, I'll say it, you just look like a dumbass. You look like one of those know-it-all, like, you know, teacher's pet, kiss butt, like, I want to be the one that's right. Read, people. I know it's hard. I know it's really, really hard to take the time to read stuff nowadays. Because, like, you have to take more than a second. But for these people that are correcting me, it takes longer for you to comment than it takes for you to read the actual full title that I put on the TikTok video. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. So I don't know. Has this happened to anybody else? I know it happens to Ghosty all the time because I've heard him rant about it on his radio show. But I'm just like, come on. If you have enough time to make the comment, take the time to actually read the title before you turn around and leave the comment. Because, you know, you're not making me look bad. You're just making yourself look like a jackass. So, yeah, I said it. So Rod says that the show that he believes he was remembering is called Dark Room. I don't think I've ever heard of this show. So it says Dark Room is an American thriller anthology television series produced by Universal, aired on ABC from November of 1981 to July of 1982. 60-minute episodes featuring 2 or more stories of varying length with a new story and a new cast, but each of the episodes' wraparound segments was hosted by James Coburn. Wow. You know, I know a lot of anthology series, Rod. I don't think I've ever heard of this one. And I mean, I'm talking about, like, I'm not just talking about anthology series that I know, like The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits and things like that. I mean, I know, like, One Step Beyond and 1313 Demon Drive and The Veil and Hammer House of Horrors. You know, a lot of anthology series that are more, like, lesser known. But this one I've never heard of. Performers included Esther Roll, Helen Hunt, Claude Akins, Richard Anderson, David Carradine, Billy Crystal, Pat Buttram. I wonder if it's available anywhere. Let's see. Yeah, see, Luna says she's never heard of Dark Realm either. Luna's my new friend on TikTok. She has like this incredible pop culture brain, and it's nice to not only talk to somebody else who has that, but here's the thing I love talking to another girl that has that, because in the world of like pop culture and horror and retro and drive-in, be honest, it's mostly men. And I'm okay with that. That's fine. But like I've all all of my online friends have always been dudes. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, Rod, you probably couldn't remember the name of the show because it was back when you were in New York, and those were crazy days back then, if you know what I mean. So it's always funny to kind of like try to remember when your brain was kind of hazy at the time. No offense, Rod, I'm just playing with you, but you know what I mean. We've all had those, okay? I've had those where I'm like, wait, what did I do? What happened? Yeah. Yeah. So I want to see if this TV series is available anywhere because I want to check it out. Oh, speaking of things to check out, I keep saying that this is on my list and I haven't gotten to it yet. I am going to try to get to it tonight. Ooh, Luna, Tales from the Dark Side was good. I like Tales from the Dark Side. Does anybody remember Monsters too? I liked Monsters, and see, everybody always remembers Tales from the Crypt, but I like Tales from the Dark Side. I love Monsters. What was the Freddy's Nightmares? Freddy's Nightmares was another good one. And of course, Friday the 13th, the series. I'm trying to remember. There was another anthology series. Hold on, I can tell you guys the name of it in a second. There was actually done. There was Tales of the Unexpected, which was Roald Dahl, but he had actually done another anthology series before that, I believe. Hold on. I think I have all of the. I think I own the series. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. Oh, there's Amazing Stories. Yeah, Twilight Zone had a couple of 80s reboots. Amazing Stories actually had a reboot too. I only got through like 2 episodes of it, but Apple TV did a reboot of Amazing Stories. It didn't have the feel that the original had. Let's see. No, it's not in there. Man, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, it's called Way Out. Way Out by Roald Dahl. It was from 1961. And of course, Roald Dahl, if you don't know, was the original author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Great Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, James and the Giant Peach, Matilda, The Witches, which were all children's story. But like L. Frank Baum, like he got into some very dark subject matter. So, which I loved. It's probably why I'm as misadjusted today as I am. So, yeah, I'll have to do some research and see if I can find a dark room. I've never heard of that. I actually just recently discovered, like maybe 5 or 6 months ago, that there was a like not a mini series. It was like a 3-part series that was on I believe, HBO back in the 90s that was directed by David Lynch, which I didn't know about. Like, I had discovered that, like, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and Terry and I watched it, and one of the parts had Crispin Glover in it, who I absolutely love. But yeah, it was good. It was everything David Lynch does is good. I mean, I will often find myself with insomnia at 4 a.m, just down the David Lynch rabbit hole, just watching like TikToks and reels on Facebook that people put up of David Lynch. I could listen to that man talk for like forever. Like, I just love his voice. I love his speech pattern. It's great. It's insane. So, okay. I said I was going to be on live for about an hour. So we're about at that time limit. So I'm going to go, but I think I'll try to start doing these lives like a little bit more often, like maybe once every other week or so. But just to let everybody know, once again, it's good to see you, Luna. Tim says he thinks Darkroom was one of the classic short-lived TV shows that was part of the old Sci-Fi Channel series collection. I didn't know that. Tim, you are my research guy. Go source that show for Rod and I, and let's see if we can figure out where it's from, and see if we can figure out if it's available online anywhere, because I want to check it out. And the other thing I'm going to try to check out tonight is the new documentary on John Candy. It's on Prime for those of you who haven't seen it, but hopefully I'll get a chance to watch it tonight. It's about 2 hours, and I adore John Candy. And yes, rest in peace, Ace Frehley. That was so surprising. I didn't even know. Thank you, Tim, for letting me know. I hadn't heard yet. So I'm sure it'll be all over the news tonight. Sad. Anyway, before I go, just a reminder to everybody, if you want to tune in to Cult Radio this weekend, we are going to have a new live show. This Saturday, October 18th, our live show is going to be a tribute to Vic Mizzy, a profile on his life and career. You can tune in to Cult Radio by going to craggradio.com. So that's CRAGGRADIO.com. CRAGGRADIO.com. Or just look up one of my posts on social media. I put it all over the place all the time. Also, you can get our free apps on the Apple App Store on iPhone and Apple TV, as well as in the Roku store. Just look up Cult Radio, CULTRADIO, or Crag, CRAGG. The live show will be this Saturday. It'll start at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It'll either be 2 or 3 hours, but it is going to be a profile on Vic Mizzy. So if you get a chance, please check it out. And by the way, Rod and Tim, Luna says that Dark Realm is on Tubi. So if you want to go back and check it out, it's there. So you can see it with just a couple of ads. So, and I'm not getting sponsorship from Tubi. So please, nobody come and correct me, okay? And please read before you correct somebody online. Don't make yourself look like an ass. All right. I'm going to go, guys. Let's see. I got to figure out which one to turn off first. I'll turn off TikTok first because it's blocking my button for YouTube. But anyway, thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. And I will try to do this maybe once a week or once every other week or something like that. All right. Love you guys. Good night. Okay. One down. All right. Good night, everyone on YouTube.